Are we recording? All right, listeners. So we are just doing a quick pre-message advertisement here for our December sponsor. So we have Figurosity, which is a website on the interweb where you can go and draw from, I suppose they're not live models. They are 3D generated models pre-posed for you, and you can select from a wide variety of body shapes, male, female, couples, and all sorts of positions. Don't look like that. It's not dirty. It's art. Angela, our always on the podcast, Angela is giving me all sorts of looks. But anyways, so it's a very cool website. Check it out, Figurosity. And for those of you like me who can't spell, that is FIGUROSITY.com. And you can get in a whole assortment of different models and poses. And since they are sponsoring us, so they have been polite enough to give us a coupon code for $5 off. And so their monthly subscription rate is about $5, so that's a free month. Or if you subscribe for the whole year, it actually is about a month and a half. And so it's pretty cheap. If you subscribe for the whole year, it's around $3. If you get monthly, it's about $5. And with that, you get additional access to other things. You can change the models to being just smooth, like like mannequins, or you can just show the musculature of the model, and you can turn that pose 360 degrees. So you can just not only have the pose, you can position it how you like. You can change the light angle. There's a whole bunch of options. So check them out, Figurosity.com, and use coupon code Inebri-art. There's no hyphen on that coupon code. Inebri-art. Welcome back, Inebri-ites. We are back here again at the craft beer cellar on Main Street in Plymouth. I'm your host, Andy, and before we get into the podcast, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Darlene Fortner. She gave us a like on SoundCloud, which we have just now started to appear on, as well as YouTube, which is also a new thing. We'll be up there every week, so I assume if you're listening to this, you've already found us. But, if you want to spread the word, we are also located there. And so today we are here with Jodie Burkett, a photographer who has won first place in our spring art show and is currently hanging at the newest, latest, and greatest restaurant here in Plymouth called the Mal Bar. And so, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Jodie, when did you get into photography?
Oh, gosh, I was probably about 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah. That's early.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't saying that. I was just thinking, like, nowadays it's easier, because any 10-year-old with their cell phone, that was real photography back.
Yeah, my father gave me an old square brownie. Yeah. And we're up in New Hampshire, and I just started following him.
Oh, he was a photographer as well?
A hobbyist.
Yeah.
A hobbyist. I have actually, through encouragement from my husband and daughter, have taken it further and actually are selling my work.
Yeah.
And I've sold some pieces. I'm quite thrilled.
Yeah.
It's tough to let go. It's like selling a kid.
It is. There's I feel when I do something, there's kind of that moment where I finish, and then I have to live with it for a little while before I'm ready to let it go.
Yeah.
And some pieces are quicker than others.
I live with it in the camera.
Yeah.
I know when I've taken something special. I'm kind of afraid to download it because I don't want to start it because I know I'll end it and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
I like to hold on to that feeling. It's like the anticipation before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I know when I've got something good. My picture of the boxer down at the Mal Bar, that fellow worked with me for a while. I was afraid to download because I didn't want the moment to end.
It's funny you bring him up. When I was hanging those pieces, initially I kind of put things up and I look at them, and then I kind of move stuff around, and I had to move him to the end of the line because just something about his picture, because he's kind of got his gloves up, kind of almost in front of his face.
But he's staring at you.
Yeah,
no matter where you go.
And it's very kind of like, I don't know if confrontational or defensive is the word. So like, I didn't want to ever like move past that. So I felt I put him at the end of the line.
Yeah, but his eyes follow you because of how he kept posing for me.
Yeah.
Best $5 I ever spent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, street performer up in New York.
He was a boxing street performer?
No, if you saw the picture in color, it would look nothing like what it is today.
Yeah.
Down in New Orleans, what they have for characters in the streets are all silver.
Mm-hmm.
New York, they happen to be gold. So I guess the further north you go, you change your elements. I don't know.
Is this the kind of like the human statue type things?
Not really. Not really. On the idea. But I think some of them are just sleeping off a bender, paid themselves silver, put a bucket out there, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to make money for your next bender.
Exactly.
So do you prefer to work in black and white? Because I've only ever seen you black and white work.
Yeah. I like my street performers to be in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I do some color. I do some HDR, the high dynamic range. I love the grunginess of it. Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a big worshiper of Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get it in there and I start playing with it and stuff, I see where it goes. I see what develops, so to speak.
I feel like Photoshop has, between Photoshop and things like Instagram, has really opened up photography to a lot of amateur people, and which is great. Anytime anyone's doing something creative.
It is.
Do you feel something is missing from that? Because, like, back in the day, in the darkroom.
Yes and no. I mean, once if I've told anybody or anybody knows that I'm a photographer, they'll stick something in my face. What do you think of this?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's good, but I don't want to do your work. I don't want to judge anybody.
Right.
I judge myself.
Yeah.
I strive for myself. That's just what I do. That's just the way I do things. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take the same pictures somebody else does.
Yeah.
I used to belong to a photography camera club in Plymouth, and it was fun to start with. I learned a few things, but I'm looking, like we were up taking the full moon up in Boston, and I'm looking and everybody's taking the same picture.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm not doing this shit. I'm turning around and I'm taking pictures of the lights on in the buses in the dark with the people on them. I'm having fun doing that.
Right, yeah.
Full moon can come anytime when I'm alone. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the same stuff somebody else does. I don't want to just churn stuff out. I want to be creative.
And not a knock on anyone. I do feel that there's a big section of the art community here in town that is very traditional, very still life, and seascapes and
Don't get me wrong. I do lighthouses.
I
do a lot of lighthouses.
But you do. There's human quality about your street performers that I feel like.
I'm pretty good with people.
Yeah.
I communicate whether I give a vibe or what. I don't know, but
I find you very standoffish.
I'm the overweight, starving artist. But I'm good with people as a rule, and. I mean, this is their craft. They're street performers, most of them. A couple of them weren't, so,
Yeah.
But they didn't care. But, that's what they do for a living, so I make sure to treat them. If they're working with me, they're going to get anywhere from $5 to $20 in their pot, depending on what,
Right.
I'm not out to take advantage of them, So, but I really like working in the street.
Yeah.
I usually have to have somebody with me because I don't pay attention and watch where I'm going.
Yeah.
Hence, if you've seen my Facebook page, the daughter calls me Stumbles.
Is it your husband or your daughter that usually goes with you?
They both go with me.
They both babysit
at different
you?
times, yes. Because I can get lost in a paper bag.
Yeah. So you've mentioned New Orleans. I've seen pictures that you've taken in Boston. Is it always kind of those locations? Like, what about
New York City?
New York?
Yeah.
What is it about those locations that...
You get a more variety of people.
You get the crazies.
Yeah, I love the crazies. Those are my people.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them.
I've always... I find myself, if I had to go into Boston now, would tend to drive in. But, like, when I was in high school and, like, as a young adult, I loved taking the T. And I still love taking the T because it's a show on the way to wherever you're going.
I've gotten yelled at by police in the T station taking pictures.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's like, blow off, buddy. I don't give a shit what you say.
Do that. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But, I've had so many, like, weirdo, crazy people either talk to you or, like, crack up a conversation with your friend. And I can't remember where we were going. Oh, we were going to an art show somewhere in Cambridge, I think. And there was this gentleman who was, I'm going to say conservatively, blackout drunk. And he was sort of undressing, or he came in like a suit, and he took off the suit, and he put on the sweatshirt, and the sweatshirt was on backwards, and he's just chatting my buddy's ear off. And it's just like, you don't get that just driving in.
Oh, come on. I want a few of those.
Yeah, it was.
I'm just here for the show.
It was fantastic. And so, for our listeners, if you ever get to Boston, take the T.
I've taken pictures on the T. My husband yells at me. He doesn't want to make a fuss or cause a stir.
Do you ever get people upset that you took their picture?
They don't know I'm taking my picture. I'm shooting from the hip.
You do it on the down low?
I do it on the down low. You know, when you're short, you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I am under the radar.
Nice.
Period.
Nice. So, when someone's starting out, say someone's getting into photography through Photoshop and Instagram or whatever, what kind of recommendations would you...
My daughter's following kind of in my footsteps.
Oh, that's cool.
Part-time doing photography and stuff. And I tell her, get on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They have such a wealth of information.
Oh, it's unreal.
And it's free.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Free. You know, it's just incredible, the amount of tips and tricks you can learn. And that's all it is. I mean, you have to develop an eye. You have to hone your eye in any type of art.
Yeah.
I can't paint. I wish I've seen your stuff. I wish I could paint. I can't. This is the way I create
So,
myself.
Jodie, you can go onto YouTube.
And I can learn to paint.
You can learn to paint. But, and that's, I mean,
You have to have something inside, some inert. I mean, other than that, it's going to be like my first grade painting.
I don't know. I feel like if you're a photographer, I think you have that. You're thinking about design and you're thinking about layout,
but you see beyond what's in front of you. I think.
Yeah, and I think the rest is just technical skill that you have to kind of learn. Would you recommend? So how old is your daughter?
She's 35.
And when did she get into it?
Oh, probably like the past 5 or 6 years. And
she's basically done nothing but digital. Like, have you?
Yeah, she never did film.
Do you encourage her to like?
No, because it's tough to find places that develop still.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to get film.
I don't know either. I still have some in the house. You want to buy it?
No, not really. I don't own a camera.
I still have a Pentax K1000.
Yeah, and it's just such a... Because, like, I took photography in college, and I loved doing it. I wasn't a big fan of... The one thing that I was struggled with was spooling the film onto the I don't know what it's called.
The thingamabob.
The thingamabob that goes into the other thing, and then you shake it.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of ended up touching the film.
I never did a darkroom.
Yeah.
I'd have my work sent out to be developed. Proximity-wise, house-wise. You know, you got to have a darkroom.
Oh, yeah.
I do have one that eventually, if it's built, it'll be there. But I've got no desire to do film.
Yeah.
You can see instantaneous. It's instant gratification with digital nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And,
you know?
And I feel like you're less likely to waste an afternoon.
Exactly. And you're not wasting all that money in film.
Yep.
You can take a half a dozen.
And then just delete them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So I think a lot of that has to do with... Because over the past 10 years or so, I've done a lot of comic conventions, and you see people there with more increasingly elaborate photography equipment, and I think it's because once you get that investment of the equipment...
It's addicting.
You're kind of done.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to like then go out and pay for the film and the chemicals and whatnot.
Yeah. And then where do you dump the chemicals?
You can't just dump it down the sink. No, you can't do that.
Not according to the town of Plymouth. We're all here. We're being ecologically safe. Yes, we are. Thank you very much.
So have you always lived in Plymouth, or are you?
Yes,
yeah?
I was born in New York City only because my father was in the service. That's the only well, not New York City, upstate New York. He was in the service, so I was born up there. They came back as soon as they could.
Yeah. So how do you feel that the art community has changed in, say, the past... Since 2008? It seems like everyone I talk to, 2008 is like this kind of pinnacle year that things started happening?
Well, from the different venues that I've gone to, yours is very eclectic and it's very colorful. And I've been to different places, and when I go down to New Orleans, or Nolans as they call it,
Yeah.
I do go to the art shops and whatever. They are so vibrant. Maybe it's because of their weather. We're pretty stoic.
Yeah.
We're not the same. We're very reserved and everything. Yours, there's a lot of color and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the art guilds and everything, they're still traditional.
Which I tend to see traditional art being very dark. Like it's like overall, it's
very Puritan.
Yeah. And like we've said, I'm sure listeners get tired of me saying it, but the one thing, there's basically two things behind Inebri-art. We want to include everybody, and we want to have fun.
Yeah.
Because if it's not fun, what's the point of doing it?
It's not worth it.
And so we started doing the art shows, and they've just been
Those
a
are fun.
blast. They've been so much fun. And everyone at the Dirty Water Distillery, little plug for them, has been great. You know, they're like, do whatever you want.
They're really great.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier, pre-interviewing, like Fish yells at me for doing, but you said you've won other awards, not just the very coveted Inebri-art award.
That was my first place.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
I've won a lot of honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
I've won a lot of People's Choice.
Yep.
Matter of fact, one of my People's Choice that was at the Art Guild, someone bought it.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's nice to win. It's better to
sell.
sell.
Again, overweight, starving artist.
And it's funny, I always tell people that literally anyone can win People's Choice. It all depends on how many people you have invited.
That's true. That's true.
The first art show we did at the distillery, my daughter had entered a piece, and we were sitting around one day, and she's like, how many votes did I get? And I'm like, honey, I really don't know. I'm like, I think I still have the sheet, but I don't know what number you were. And she's like, oh, it's number 19. And I'm like, oh, I can look that up. And I looked, and I'm like, wow, you missed People's Choice by 3 votes. And her brother's like, and I didn't even vote for you. So, and it's one of those, if you can be a great artist, but if you bring a lot of friends,
exactly,
you can take People's Choice.
And not so much at the Art Guild when I won People's Choice there, because it's like pretty much limited with their hours and everything, because they never used to be open on later in the evenings. I think there's one evening, well, maybe it's just during wintertime that they were open later. But a lot of people would come in, and they got a really good cross. A lot of people do go in there.
Yeah.
Not that many people buy, but, who knows? When the economy took a turn, it really hit the artists.
And that's one of those, I get it. It is a luxury item.
I do too.
Feed your family first before you get them art.
Exactly. Precisely.
So, one thing that I always hear, and I've been hearing a lot from artists because, like I mentioned, that I've done a lot of Comic-Cons. It's very competitive there now because it has gotten so popular. And there seems to be this mentality of people will walk by and be like, oh, I really like that, and don't buy it. And then the artists get upset. They're like, well, if you like it, you should buy it. And it's like, do you, yes, it's nice to sell, but would you rather a compliment than...
I'd rather a compliment.
Yeah.
Because it validates what your vision is.
Mm-hmm. And it to me, it's one of those, I can like the Mona Lisa, doesn't mean I can afford it. I mean, that's bad. I don't think that's for sale, but you know what I'm saying?
Doesn't mean I'll steal it.
But, you can like something and maybe not have the money, or you're looking to purchase something else.
You appreciate it.
So, to me, one of the biggest compliments has always been someone who recognizes my work. I've had people who have purchased stuff in the past and come in, and they're like, oh, I just wanted to see what you had this time. And that's fine. That's awesome.
It's nice to be have people follow you, isn't it? Well, not on the street, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. Unless they're, taking your picture in New Orleans.
Hey, I've chased people down the street before.
Yeah.
Not scarily. I'm only 5'1" and a half.
What was kind of like the most fun you had with a street performer? Was there like one that really stands out?
The girl in New Orleans, The girl that she's got the fishnet stockings
and the dreadlocks.
Yep.
That was the one that
Yep.
won first place.
My cousin was behind me getting her fortune told. I was bored.
Is that what she did?
She didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
It was like in a square.
Yeah.
So there was, big area, and she just set her blanket up there. I'd seen her on her bicycle. She had a three-wheel bicycle. I saw her going down the street, and it's from the back, and it's like, she's interesting. I hope I catch up with her. Well, she happened to be laying her blanket out on the ground with her little bucket for, coins or whatever, right across where my cousin was getting her cards done. It's like, I'll be over here. Find me when you're done. I don't care about that. And I was with her for a little while, and she was just so pleasant. And it's like when somebody wants to work with you, it's the great thing about street performers is they're not shy.
No.
I myself hate having my picture taken.
Yeah.
Most people do. I usually make a goofy face.
Right.
More than I just show up in public with, but that's okay, But they don't care. They're selling themselves.
Right.
So there's no embarrassment. There's nothing like that. It's pure. Mm-hmm. And it's fun.
So is there like a huge community of street performers down there?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a poor area.
Yeah.
So there's a lot because, and let's face it, there's no taxes out of that money out of your pocket.
Wait, I'm sure they report every penny of that.
I have
no
no
doubt. Are you implying they would break the law?
It's the big easy.
Yeah.
What happens in Nolans stays in Nolans.
Have you been down there for Mardi Gras?
No.
No?
I actually work for a living in
in
the real world, unfortunately. And the business I work in, I can't get time off in the wintertime.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that's kind of like
it's
amateur hour.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wouldn't do that for beads. It's all I can do.
Yeah. You wouldn't take photos for beads?
That's not what I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah, I've always kind of it seems like it would either be a lot of fun or just be an absolute nightmare.
Well, my cousin has friends that have a house down there.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a safe locale right on Royal Street.
Yeah.
So
that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And truthfully, I'd love to be on a balcony taking pictures down.
Yeah.
I went down there a couple years ago with my cousin and another friend of ours, and we spent the night in the French Quarter. And we were at one of the restaurants. I forget if it was Two Jacques or whatever. And we're out on the balcony having lunch. And as I'm there, the Indians with the feathers and everything else. Okay.
Yeah.
One of them had just come from practice. I couldn't get out of my chair fast enough. I was trying to get down to the first floor to go out and follow him.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
So you'll just chase after him?
Oh, I'll chase after him. I won't be intimidating about it. Excuse me.
Do you ever kind of go out in the streets here in Plymouth?
No, we're kind of boring in Plymouth.
Yeah.
Although there was a pirate here a couple summers ago I wish I had an opportunity to catch. It's very colorful.
It's weird. I don't know if that's the same guy. This was ages ago. I didn't live in Plymouth. We were out here just kind of hanging out. And we were at, it's now Luciosa's. At the time it was Run of the Mill.
Yeah.
And this pirate wanders in and starts going table to table, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with the theme of this restaurant. I don't understand what that's about. And then the manager came in and threw him out. And I'm like, oh, he doesn't work here? And he's like, no.
We'll work for rum.
Yeah, it was just such a weird, it was middle of November, so it wasn't like Halloween. It was just a dude dressed as a pirate
I don't
going
know
around.
who this guy was, but he had a very weathered face. He had the bandana with the white, long, scraggly hair. He was just, but it's like, not sure.
Yeah.
And I was with a group of people that it was difficult. We were down at the concerts. We go to my friends and I go to the concerts on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. They've had some really good stuff.
Yeah, they have had some really good stuff. So usually classmates from school. We're still alive.
Well, who did you go see?
We try to go to all of them, although I skipped the Irish one. Sorry, Irish people. Husband and daughter
included. You can shut that off now.
Sorry, husband and daughter are Irish. I'm not really big into Irish music, but we like Adam Ezra.
Yep.
We like Adam Ezra. And Cheap Vuva.
I don't know.
Linda went to school a year ahead of us.
Yeah.
Great band. They play anything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and fun.
Yeah, it's such a nice little area. It's right, for our listeners who don't know, it's right next to Plymouth Rock, and there is a soundstage. And,
and it's free.
Yeah, it's every Wednesday night during the summer. And they've had some big local people there.
They had Johnny Drama last summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know he plays at Memorial Hall every once in a while.
Johnny Drama. What is it? And his Funky Bunch, I guess it is. I forget.
That's Marky Mark. Did Johnny Drama steal Marky Mark's Funky Bunch?
No, he does Funky Entourage.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
I don't
memory.
really.
Those are fun, and I like to get together with my friends and everything and down there, and I'll take pictures of the band and stuff. It's tough because they're dark, light in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're backlit.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to put flash in their eyes so they fall off the stage.
Right.
The whole liability thing and everything.
It's not a very tall stage.
Neither am I.
Says the guy who broke his ankle stepping off the deck. So, do you have plans? I'm assuming the uptick of weirdos worth taking pictures is going to be more and more with Plymouth 400 coming. Are you looking forward towards that for some photo ops?
Yeah. I'm game for just about anything.
Yeah.
And especially things that are once in a lifetime. Like one of the pictures I've got down at Malabar is a fellow with a ball of fire.
Yes.
That was from Waterfire. That's one of my favorite places to go.
So what is that?
It's in Providence.
Mm-hmm.
It's, Barnaby Evans is the fellow that created it. He's a alumnus of RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design. Yeah. And what they do in the summertime, not every weekend anymore, I guess because of financial cutbacks and stuff, they will light up the whole basin of the Providence River.
Yeah.
And they start in the basin and go down the river. And they have all these braziers going all night, and they do have the living statues. Mm-hmm. They have the fire people that are playing around with fire that are really cool.
Yeah.
There's a different theme every week. I want to get back to the one they had the Chinese theme for.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And there was one theme one year I took a friend to that was actually I fell that. That's why he's calling me Stumbles. I fell that one. An opera one. And they had but it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not big into opera, but it was I like to experience new things.
Sure.
So they had this woman singing an aria with 2 torches above her head, and didn't my battery die?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I was kicking myself.
You didn't bring it back up?
I didn't think so. You live and learn, don't you?
You weren't a Boy Scout, were you?
No, I was a Girl Scout. I was a Girl Scout.
Yeah. Well, that brings up a thing. We're always trying to get insight into people's process and recommendations. What are the things when you're out shooting that you must have?
Extra batteries. Extra memory cards.
Yeah.
I don't want to go with a lot of lenses because it's weight. My camera's heavy enough.
Right. So, you don't want to, if you're out for the afternoon, you don't want to have to carry it. I got the hand strap for it, but I also have a strap that'll go across my body so that if it gets too heavy, I can just let it hang. But it's right there, almost like a 6-gun. Yeah.
Right there.
Quick draw.
Done. Yeah.
Do you ever get concerned about theft? Like someone...
I carry big people with me.
Yeah.
Husband's 6'1". I'm good.
He's not a tiny guy. No.
Daughter's 5'10".
Yeah.
She can be intimidated when it comes to her mother.
So you keep bodyguards.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Do you do a lot of kind of like schedule photo shoots with models? You do that or just...
No, I haven't done that. I've done a wedding.
I feel like that could be tough.
It is. It's a lot of work. I was absolutely exhausted. And my daughter kept telling me the whole time, because she couldn't come with me, she had to work. My son-in-law came with me to be like a backup shooter, but he had the video camera.
Yeah.
My daughter kept saying, you can't have a drink there. Oh, I really need to relax. You can't have a drink. Come on.
I don't know. Why can't you?
It wouldn't look right. The girl didn't have that much money. I cut her an awesome deal.
Yeah.
I downloaded everything on a CD. You print them, you own them. Good luck.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So it was a lot of work. Would I do it again? Oh, there'd have to be big money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
It explains why some of them charge huge money.
I don't blame them. Their time is worth money.
Yep.
I have a regular job at this point, so I can be liberal with my time. There's certain pieces I donate. I donated a 20 by 24 picture to the city of Bay St. Louis in Mississippi. It's where my cousin is. Mm-hmm. And it was a picture I had taken a year after Katrina.
Oh, wow.
Now, what happened was after Katrina, they got a lot of revitalization money.
Yeah.
And they put it into their infrastructure. And I'm out wandering around one morning at sunrise, and I noticed they had these beautiful wrought iron street lamps that say Bay St. Louis.
Yeah.
I've got the sunrise, I've got the ocean, I've got the street light lit with Bay St. Louis. I did an HDR on it, blew it up, and donated it to the city.
Oh, nice.
Every time the mayor's on television, my picture's behind him.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Yes, it is. It is. My cousin has to tell me because I don't get the channels down there.
Obviously,
but,
So I'm curious about the ethics, I suppose, because being an artist, if I draw something, yes, I can make prints, but being a photographer, you could, I guess, just continually make the same print. Like
you can. It depends. Okay. The pictures I've sold that I've gotten what I wanted for them.
Yeah.
I won't reproduce them for anybody else. I might reproduce them for a not-for-sale item in a show, but I wouldn't reproduce them for sale again.
Okay.
I have a problem with that. I don't know what anybody else does. That's
just
them.
you.
Right. Yeah. There was a restaurant in Plymouth that bought 2 of my metal pieces from me. I had 2 pictures done on metal that they bought them from me. I gave them a real good deal. One of their customers came in last Christmas and asked about them. She was having lunch there, and they gave her my name. And I had no qualm about selling her one on metal, paying the price that I would normally sell that wasn't, that I would get exposure.
Right, yeah.
So, would I sell it again? I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
But you're not going to pay that much because metal's expensive to do.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a photo on metal.
Can I plug a restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to 42 Degree North. The 2 pictures
on
metal
God, their
are
food
mine.
is so good.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially in the summertime with the lobster rangoon.
Oh, see, I haven't had that.
Oh! Makes you want to slap your mama.
What did I have there? Oh, I had, it was, like, now it seems like everywhere has it, but they had Brussels sprouts, which I hadn't seen on the menu and can't remember ever. It was so good. And they have a nice little deck outside.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know Kevin that owns the restaurant.
Yeah.
I love all of his restaurants. All 3 of there's
what are the
4.
Restaurants?
He has the Stockholders in Weymouth, which is an excellent
I know that place.
steakhouse.
Yeah, I've eaten there. Yeah.
He's got the newest one, Precinct 10 in Weymouth. The chef is
familiar.
The chef is from New Orleans. He makes his own sausage.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You get a meat platter. I know this is an art show, but I'm talking about food.
Fine. We're fat guys. We love food. There's a reason why we have a lot of chefs on.
I'm a small fat, thank you.
Yeah.
But they put out a meat platter. My husband got the lunch one. He couldn't finish it for lunch.
Wow.
Never mind the dinner one.
Yeah.
And that's excellent. It's like I said, the chef is from New Orleans. That's got a tree right in the middle of the restaurant.
Huh.
It's all about the bootlegging, prohibition.
Oh, okay.
So it's a tree where they used to hide the liquor and everything.
Sure.
I hope I'm not giving away a secret. But and then they've got their first one. I think it's called Bay Point out in Quincy. It's a bugger to find.
Yeah.
But their food is very similar to 42. The other 2 are very different, and every one of them's delicious.
Yeah, I mean we're big food fans. So
what's not to love?
Yeah, we've had let's see, the chef from Port Bistro on, the chef from Nosh, the chef from Baron Boots.
I've heard of them.
Down in Falmouth, they make their own sausage too.
Really?
They make their own ramen noodles.
Oh my God! I gotta go there.
Because they invited us in one night when they were closed, and we got to interview the chef. And the only way I can describe it is it looked like a thing you would hang mugs on with Barbie's grass skirt on it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And he's like, that's my ramen tree. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, we make our own ramen. I'm like, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
And they're all, farm to table. They have dinners there where they will get a local farmer to provide stuff for the dinner, and you buy a ticket to this dinner, and then you sit down and eat dinner with the farmer that made the food.
Oh, wow. See, I love Falmouth anyways. My grandfather's from Falmouth. Portuguese, thank you. But, and I like to go to Falmouth. In the springtime, they have a really cool place called Spore Farms. It's all free. It's right on Oyster Pond.
What is it?
It's a conservatory area. The people, they fenced off the house.
Yeah. And
they've just planted all kinds of plantings and daffodils and stuff, and they have these antique anchors embedded into the shoreline, and they have a lot of stonework and stuff. It's just kind of a cool place, and it's free.
And that's to me, that's the amazing thing about, I'm sure every place is like this, but there's so many hidden things that if you don't look for them, you're never going to know about that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of my favorite things about this podcast is just from talking to people, you find out stuff like that. Or you're like, oh, do you know Steve? And I'm like, I don't know Steve. Oh, you should get Steve on. And you get Steve on. He's amazing. And so it's this cool ball that keeps rolling. And
learning something new every day.
Yeah, and like I told you, and I'll make the announcement now, is we're doing a pop-up art show on New Year's Eve.
Oh, cool.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's at an undisclosed location because I don't have the location yet.
Because if I told you, I had to kill you.
It's not even that. Like, I would love to know. But they're going to be shutting down Main Street and having a big,
See, that's fun. P-Town does that in the
Yeah.
summertime. It's fun to have the street shut down and people just wander wherever they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, the parking around here is terrible anyways.
Oh, my God. And the back one here,
Yeah.
half of it's gone anyways.
Yeah,
now?
it
They
looks
got it
like
fenced off?
they're redoing something.
I don't know. They probably found an artifact or something. So they got to,
Yeah.
you know.
There's a new curb there, so I think maybe they're trying to keep people from parking where they weren't supposed to park. But all of Plymouth is under construction right now. It's crazy. I firmly believe in 2021 no one is going to be building anything because everyone's budget's going to be gone. So what's next? Like, what kind of... Do you have shows in mind that you're working on?
I'm actually thinking... I don't really know what to do. I do know this guy that hooks me up with these great restaurants. Oh, do you know him, Zandy Driscoll?
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him?
I heard he's an ass.
I don't want to go to Hyannis to the Art Guild down there because it's very competitive and I'm not...
There's an art guild in Hyannis?
Yeah, they have an art. Yeah, Cape Cod Arts or Artisan or something. There's one in Falmouth, too, which is more laid back, I believe.
Yeah.
I kind of might go to that one. See, I want to have my work out there.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who appreciate it. I'm running out of room.
Yeah. Well, that's... And this isn't selling Jodie's work short at all because I'm a big fan. But one of the reasons why she's at the Malbar, I'm like, they're opening like Tuesday. How much work do you have? And you're like, I have 50 pieces. I'm like, perfect.
What would you like?
Yeah. And and it seems like whenever we get to hang a restaurant, the first time is who has what ready right now.
Well, and I thought the street, and I asked you, do you think the street performers would go?
Oh, they're great there.
Because it's a whole grouping. It's the same, it's not like I got a flower here and a lighthouse there.
No, they work very well together. Yeah.
I mean, that work really doesn't sell, and I don't care. Mm-hmm. But those are my people. I love my people.
I don't know why. I mean, I understand why it sells. I mean, a certain type of people buys art. We probably sell like a show, and it's that one person who absolutely falls in love with something.
Well, like the girl upstairs. She was saying that one picture reminded her of
something from her childhood.
Exactly.
Right? Yep.
Exactly.
And yeah, she's bought from us before, so that could happen. And you hang in the shows here at the Guild.
I hang in the Guild, and I've hung at Dirty Water for Inebri-art.
That's us.
I touched on Situate a bit.
Yeah.
I don't like to badmouth anybody, but I don't like how they handled my work.
Yeah. That's it's kind of, you have to be overly careful, I feel.
Well, and this wasn't even one of my big pieces because I do big pieces.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of small stuff. I think with what I do, the bigger gives more of an impact.
Yeah.
It says more. But this is a small floral that I had specially framed and everything else. I'm submitting for a show, and they clunked it on the table, and it's like, I had that specially framed.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't want to be the one that worries about it the whole time because they're not careful with other people's work.
Right.
I understand they're not responsible, but have some responsibility.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Treat it as...
It's like you get nervous carrying Kendra's pottery.
God. That was... that made me very nervous. And then, so my ninja skills... so this was our third show at the Dirty Water Distillery. And... It's a very open venue. People come in. Dogs have come in. Little kids have come in. And this time there was a little dog. And it ran under one of the easels.
Oh, my God.
And it just happened to be the most expensive piece in the show. And Fish is like, I've never seen you move that quick. And I'm like, I'm a ninja. I don't know what to tell you. I can take you out at any time. I've been, like, lulling you into a false sense of security for, like, 15 years. Yeah, and it's one of those... they're all my responsibility until I give them back, and so I'm very vigilant on those type of things.
And if something happened, you understand, because, life happens.
Yeah, and things are going to happen, but we would also be responsible for it. Yeah.
Right. Oh, you're the only one.
Well, I mean, we do have a waiver. I mean, like, if the place burns down, that's out of our hands.
Yeah.
But if I am carrying something and I drop it,
right.
I'm responsible for it. But,
usually my husband carries the work. I do the big stuff, he does the heavy lifting. Works well with us.
So you have all your stuff professionally framed.
Yes, I go to Michael's.
So we were discussing framing earlier. What are some of the rules? Like what are this should always be done this way?
Okay. I am a big fan of white mats anyways, no matter what it is.
Yep.
I am usually always a black frame.
Okay.
Depends on the picture. I've got some pictures that need to be in a brown because of the coloring. It looks horrible in black, between and black. There was one picture that I actually sold out of Alden Park, which is another place my work is at.
Alden Park, yep. That's another great food place.
And this happened to be the same picture that clunked in Situate. It was a picture of these magenta ferns I took down south growing out of terracotta brick.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The coloring is gorgeous in it. And it was in the afternoon, so the sun was coming down. And I did the white mat, and I was talking with my daughter, who's got a real good eye for color. And she said, you need a silver frame on that. I said, there's no silver frames on the rack.
Yeah.
You got to make a special frame for it, Mom. This picture deserves it. And it enhanced the picture. So once in a while, nothing's ever etched in stone.
Right.
So you got to view it, what it looks like, what it really needs.
So it's almost like you need to know the rules, and then you need to figure out when you should break them.
Yeah. That's photography.
Yeah. You
rule of thirds until.
Yeah. You were just what is the rule of thirds?
You try to do everything in thirds, so everything isn't dead smack in the center. You want something to draw your eye into.
Yeah.
And thirds will do that until you break it.
Right. But there's a difference between not knowing the rule and deciding to break it.
That's true.
So I think that's that line where this is the rule, but I did this anyways.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah. I think that's probably like one of the most... I think that is like one of the things that I can recommend to any artist of any type that works on a two-dimensional surface. Don't put things in the middle.
No.
And it's one of those...
Unless that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because my people are mostly all in the middle, but they're pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah, but they are in their...
They take up the space.
Yeah, you use the space well.
Yeah.
It's just...
And I like a thick mat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just envelops you.
I think your pieces are framed excellent.
Thank
and they're
you.
always wired to hang, so we don't have to worry about that. That's super nice.
I have to thank Michael's for that. They put the nice backing on with the bumps.
And when you're talking about your ferns, you just made me think of something, and this is not related to your work, but it would make beautiful photos. I have no idea what happened to it. You know where the old post office is?
Yeah.
Outside of there used to be like planters. There were the lower half of someone's head. So it was just kind of like from like middle of the nose down. So it was like the nose and like the mouth and the lower jaw, and then the rest was open and things would get planted in it. And it was kind of like knocked over and kind of like old, and
oh, those must have been.
It was super cool.
I don't
and
remember them, but
and then
I would
one
love
day
them.
they just disappeared, and I'm like, oh shit! I wish I knew what happened to those because they were amazing.
I have no idea.
So for our listeners, if anyone knows what happened to those,
and we can go to their house at midnight and find out where that really.
Yeah,
no problem.
I'm not saying they would disappear, but they would.
I got a daughter.
I got a Jeep. So do you ever kind of come across stuff? I know you don't. The work I've seen is not still life, but do you ever kind of like across a thrift store and when you're like, oh, I want to buy this to kind of like bring it home and do kind of still life stuff with it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I'm getting a room set up in my house. I'm halfway there because I have some weird mind thing going on. My husband likes to smoke cigars.
Yeah.
I take all of his cigar bands. I flatten them out. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to do something with them. I have a rawhide whip that I bought.
Yeah.
I have a sword. I have some freaky
weird stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm working on this. My brain has been full steam ahead.
I can't wait till you have some sort of contractor, plumber in, and he's like, what the hell goes on here?
And the icing on the cake, ballet slippers.
Oh, yeah. That'll make an interesting day for a plumber. He's going to be like, I don't know what they're doing. What?
I think it's S&M.
I can't figure out what
Sound of magic.
I can't figure out what the cigar bands are for.
Put them on your fingernails.
But I feel like artists see that sort of thing. Like, every artist I know saves bottle caps. Yeah. And you're all like, why? And be like, I feel like I can do something with them. What? I don't know yet, but I feel like I can do something with them.
But it's crafty.
Yeah.
Because I do crafts. I started out going crafts years and years ago and continued it all and make Victorian antique ornaments.
We just got invited to one.
Which one?
Jewelry City?
I went to that.
Yeah?
I went to that. I didn't dress up. I wasn't feeling that good.
Yeah.
But the biggest one in Waltham.
Is that Lock City? No.
I don't know.
Lock City's one.
It's Waltham in May.
May 6th.
May 6th, maybe? Okay, yeah. I'm not sure
That's
what
Lock City.
saying.
It is. Yep.
It is awesome. Their parking sucks like Plymouth.
Yeah.
But it is awesome. I dressed up. I got the bustier. I got the freaking hat and everything else.
Nice.
I had a ball.
Yeah.
Had a ball.
We were at...
People asked to take my picture.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was dressed up.
That's awesome.
Hat girl, you know?
We were at a Creature double feature event.
Ooh.
At the same place where Jewelry City was.
Oh, okay.
And they were there promoting, and so, of course, she was on our... the woman who runs it was on our podcast. You know, we did a quick interview with her. And so she shared an event, and I saw May 6th, and I immediately messaged her. I'm like, hey, is that when your next event is? And she's like, no, that's Lock City. And I'm like, oh, well, can we go to your next event? And she's like, yeah. So
my daughter and I are gearing up, getting outfits to go. There's a steampunk ball in February in Connecticut.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Down
Never
in the
been to a
casinos?
ball.
Or?
No, it's not at the casinos. It's probably about halfway through the state. I don't remember right off the top of my head. But they had a booth there at the Jewelry City one. And we grabbed a couple of brochures. I forget what the site is. I do have it on my Facebook.
So what is it about steampunk?
I don't know. It's Victorian, which I just love that era.
Yeah.
And it's a recyclable, reusing. I mean, steampunk encompasses everything and nothing.
Yeah.
It's just really cool.
It is the one kind of costuming thing that seems to infiltrate everything. You see it at Comic-Cons. You see it at King Richard's Fair.
Oh, okay.
I mean, oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to King Richard's Fair once,
Yeah.
and it was just one hot day, and I was intrigued by the cats and everything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stay there. Then I get yelled at by the tall guy with the beer stein on his head.
Oh,
Sheriff,
yeah.
I was smoking in this section, lady. So.
Yeah, you see steampunk people there. You see them at Comic-Cons. It just seems like everywhere where people are dressing up.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's ingenious what they meant.
Yeah. And there's no rules to it.
No.
Like
the rules is no rules.
Yeah, like if you do costuming at a Comic-Con, then you get people like, well, did you make that yourself? And well, you're not in character. Like you're dressed as a character, but you're not in character. And I feel like
very judgy people, aren't they?
They can be, yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah. But I don't feel like that from steampunk. I just feel like everyone's out having fun.
Everybody's out having fun, accepting of everything.
Playing with their Nerf guns.
And the amazing thing, you got little kids that have made these mechanical arms out of cardboard.
Yeah.
You have these adults. You have people that are probably in the 80s and 90s all dressed. It is so all-encompassing.
Yeah.
It is cool.
That's
I
awesome.
banged the table. I'm sorry.
That's all right. One time's fine. One strike. Mark down one strike for banging the table.
That's one.
When you get to 3, we just delete the whole podcast.
Take away your beer.
So, is there somewhere online where people can see your work? Is there a jodieburkett.com or Facebook? Or
I'm going to do the Facebook thing. I will do the Facebook thing.
Can you get it up?
Try.
I'm just kidding.
But I am under Jodie Burkett on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on there.
Yeah. My work on
so
early stuff.
Yeah, people can find you, Jodie Burkett.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't creep me out. Don't stalk me.
Like and share.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you ever put your stuff up for sale on like an Etsy type site? Or
no, I don't know that much about it. And that's like the whole website thing for me is intimidating, even though I've got a Zenfolio thing I'm going to be trying to put together.
You got a what now?
Zenfolio and their work.
Okay. I've never heard. What is a Zenfolio?
It's just www.zenfolio.com. I'm not thinking Snapchat.
Tinder. No, not Tinder. Tumblr.
No.
Tumblr? Tumblr's the one, the photo one. Tinder's the dating one.
My husband doesn't let me date. He's so
such
antiquated.
a stick in the mud.
I know.
This is 2018 almost, right?
Hell of a nerve.
So, Jodie Burkett on Tinder. Swipe
I'm
right.
not on Tinder.
Swipe right? Is that it? I know you swipe away. I don't really know anything about it.
Good save.
I don't. Swipe right could be the good thing. I learned through cultural osmosis. So now we got totally off topic. But New Year's Eve, there's going to be that thing. So your artwork will be somewhere downtown in Plymouth. Come check it out.
Okay. How many pieces would you like?
That depends on the place that was mentioned to me earlier. Maybe all of them.
No problem. I'll dust them off.
So people can find information on that at our Facebook page at Inebri-art. They can like us on Twitter at Inebri-art. Email us Inebri-art@yahoo.com. Feel free to send us some, lovely, wonderful emails or hate mail. We'll read them both.
Don't hate me.
Oh, no, they can hate us. They're going to hate us. They're not going to hate you. And I know you're listening now, but we're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. Rate us, share us, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And make sure you keep your eyes open for Jodie. When she finally gets a website, we will share it. And thanks for coming down and talking to us.
Thank you
It was
for
a lot of
having
fun.
me. I had a ball.
Good.
I really had a good time.
Yeah, we will invoice you for the fee.
I have no problem. That extra 20 was worth it.
I actually had someone be like, well, how much does this cost? I'm like, how much does what cost? And they're like, the podcast. I'm like, I don't charge you to be on the podcast.
But I got to take a picture for a while
to
make it work off that 20, honey.
Yeah, it was weird. So, thanks again. And you're always welcome in any of our art shows.
Thank you. I love them.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you. Have a good night, listeners.
All right. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to check out our other podcast. There's the Bar Talk podcast. There's Old Colony Cast. And, of course, the Inebri-art podcast along with Jam Packed. You can find all those on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. If you're on some sort of service and you can't find it, let us know, and we'll help you out and or add our podcast to that too. You can contact us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com and follow us on Facebook as well as Twitter at Inebri-art. And feel free to send us some tips, ideas, advice, hate mail, whatever it is, you can get us there. And again, thanks for listening.